Dia macam maybe realization macam like, let's face it, you're not gonna become a doctor. Macam tu. That's the reality of it.
So basically saya nak introduce lah Azlan ni ataupun nama manja dia Alan. Dia student saya tahun 2007 tak silap saya. Masa tu dia betul 2007.
17.
Masa tu you nak ambil SPM, tinggal sebulan lagi kan. Sebulan lagi nak ambil SPM. Dan saya datang rumah dia almost every day lah. Mak dia book macam 5 hari seminggu macam tu lah, sebab nak pulun. Jadi masa tu Alan, saya ingat saya lah, you bercita-cita nak jadi doktor lah, saya ingat kan time tu. Dan yes, tak silap saya you dapat A kan MATS?
Ya dapat SPM dapat.
Okay, so lepas tu dapat. Saya terus still keep in touch dengan Alan ni sebab saya mengajar adik-adik dia lepas tu. So saya after 10 years lepas tu pun saya still mengajar adik dia yang bongsu Adam tu. So saya tahulah apa Alan buat from time to time. Tapi kali ni saya nak kupas lagi lah So harap Alan okay lah.
Okay.
So saya nak tanya Alan, so lepas SPM tu you dapat result yang agak okay. Seingat saya you pergi overseas terus kan, pergi ke Indonesia kan, tak silap saya.
Ya dia
nak ambil medik kan
SPM and then
okay, boleh Alan ceritakan berapa lama di sana dan berapa lama dekat you transition belajar nak jadi doktor tu lah. Boleh start dari situ lah.
Okay, so I was batch 2009. I went to Indon, Makassar, Universitas Hasanuddin. Program was supposed to be 5 years. So supposedly to habis belajar by 14 I guess. 2009. Okay, 2014 betul lah. Supposedly lah kan. And then I think I spent a total of 7 years over there. Because I tak lepas a few departments lah. To be exact, kalau nak wanna dive deeper, the first 3 years was okay. I did okay. Medik Indonesia dia 5 tahun. 3 tahun teori, 2 tahun hospital. 3 tahun ni pun like I did in like 3.5 years. Ada sangkut sikit biasalah. Lepas tu masuk practical ke hospital tu yang not going well lah. Sistem dia ada 2 tahun practical. You need to like complete the course of the first year tu baru boleh masuk the second year of the practical. In the practical year 1 tu I tak lepas pediatrics. And even I repeat like 2-3 times the pediatrics just for untuk lulus pediatric. Tak lepas. Tak lepas. And like after that I kind of stuck there and things got hard bila like I balik and orang tanya bila nak habis. And my answer is the same lah, tahun depan. So yalah, up to the point sampai mana je boleh you tell the same alasan kan. So okay lah, I think I balik when I was 25 or 26 macam tu. So like 2015 or 2016 lah I balik sini. 2017 aku tak ingat, but around that age lah, around that time.
Yang buat praktikal tu memang kena di Makassar juga lah, dia tak boleh kat tempat lain
Ya. I try minta like buat attachment dekat let's say university lain pun tak boleh. Buat dekat Malaysia pun tak boleh. You can transfer credit and what not. Kena sambung lagi setahun. Not easy and not doable lah. Ada orang boleh buat but not easy lah. I did not manage to get that. So end up staying in Makassar. I basically hit myself lah.
So you start dekat pediatric apa kan? Pediatric tu apa kan, kanak-kanak kan?
Kanak-kanak dan bayi, yes.
After you macam 2-3 years tu, in a way macam you give up lah ke?
Yes, when I was finally asked like, do you want to come back? Stop your study. I was like, yalah kot, it's time lah kot. Then balik sini.
pediatric tu dia take 1 year lah juga nak habis kalau ikutkan lah.
No, I mean practical year 1 tu, contoh you have like multiple departments. Let's say kulit kelamin, video imaging, internal medicine, neuro, saraf, and neuro is saraf. Macam dah like departments lah. I buat all those, kira yang mana you buat, you tak lepas, you can repeat after you finish all the other courses lah, all the other departments lah. So when I dah settle almost all the courses, all the departments, I keep on repeating pediatrics lah, because unless I lepas pediatrics baru boleh I proceed to the second year of the practical practical year lah. Macam tu lah.
Dia total practical berapa tahun? 2 kan cakap dia?
2, yes.
Oh, you tak lepas second year of practical lah.
Kira I tak boleh nak lepas pada first year to jump to the second year. Macam tu lah.
Kalau you pass second year tu baru you habis lah ke macam tu?
Yes. Orang kata sayang lah, because macam like you tinggal satu department lagi untuk proceed to the second year. Macam tu lah. But dah benda tak lepas macam.
Is it because
kacau
of the pediatric is hard for you? I don't know.
I don't know lah. Dia kalau nak ingatkan balik memang, I don't know man, tak tahu nak kata bad luck ke apa, but throughout all the examination, I dapat semua yang gila. So macam like sampai doktor yang resident yang mengajar tu pun macam like, kenapa sial sangat kau dah macam tu, macam like bad luck gila, macam sampai koyak lah, tipu lah tak koyak kan, macam apa benda. And makan diri gak lah. I have some issues and then end up hiding myself lah, tak pergi kelas lah, macam tu lah, tak pergi department kan.
You balik Malaysia, you pergi balik macam tu lah. For a while tu you
tak, dia macam like after that dah memang balik Malaysia, try to figure out the next step lah. After that, kira we know medicine is not the journey.
So masa you balik Malaysia tu, somewhat you rethink and then you think doctor is not your goal, I mean your objective anymore lah after you balik Malaysia lah macam tu lah.
Dia macam cakap, dia macam maybe realization macam like, let's face it, you're not gonna become a doctor. Macam tu. That's the reality of it. So balik lah. Balik, figure out the next step what I can do with my current qualification at that time. And with that, adalah juga dapat opportunity nak sambung belajar dekat Ipoh. But itu pun setengah sem juga I tahan, because studying is not for me dah at that point.
Medik ke?
Public health. Yeah, I try to like similar field and whatnot. Tak boleh go because dah cannot belajar lah, medical stuff and information and knowledge, rasa dah cannot go dah. After that, baru I start kerja for a while, and then COVID happen.
You kerja apa in between time tu? You baru Malaysia between COVID tu. Time tu I tengah ajar Adam tak silap. I nampak je you tegur-tegur hi tu kan. You kerja apa time tu?
I think my first job was customer service. Paling senang.
Betul, untuk syarikat apa?
Dia macam third party company. I work for Aegis BPO under StarHub Singapore. Yeah. As a customer service lah.
So bila you kerja customer service tu, you rasa is more suits you lah, is it?
There at that time was like more to desperation on like, I need to do something with my life lah. Qualifications just that, macam tu je. Nak cari job, one of the jobs yang dapat it was customer service lah.
You jumpa customer ke atau you just telemarketing?
No, on the phone. On the phone, customer service. Okay lah, in a way, working there, develop back my English. Duduk kat Indonesia tak cakap English. Gives you, develop me to especially handle Singapore customers. They can be very, very fussy. Okay lah. I mean, it doesn't develop my career much, but in a way of my thinking, my response to handle people professionally, macam tu lah. Like, it helps lah. Different lah. Like, I never thought I could do something like that lah.
I rasa you develop communication skill lah, we call it kan?
Yeah, because Indo lain sikit lah. I mean, different lah. I mean, when you become like medical student and become customer service agent lain lah.
Okay, interesting sebab dah nampak dah sikit route you. Okay, you sambung
Lepas customer service, I did telemarketing. And then telemarketing tu yang what I really open my eyes to people lah. Macam like you try to convince people over the phone. You know, that's like something I really thought I could never do. You know, don't bagi script and then don't bagi objection and answers. But still you need to add your creativity lah. It feels nice to be recognized by your leaders. Nice lah. At that point was nice for me. And then COVID happened. COVID happened and then they have to lock down events and then eventually company pun like shut down for a while. They let go of all of us lah basically.
Interesting tu. So, apa yang you develop masa jadi telemarketing tu? I mean, you develop your selling skill pula kan, betul tak? Convincing people.
Convincing. Because consider myself like introvert-ish lah juga, because I don't like, really approach and talk to people and whatnot. But doing that over the phone and doing that face-to-face, dua-dua I pernah buat, and dua-dua is like totally different way and approach and response. But telemarketing is something surprising lah. Like, you don't know the person over the line, so you just talk lah. You can talk, you can say anything, you can, try to convince them.
I suppose you're going quite well lah sebab you said you're being recognised by your leaders, right?
Sekejap je lah. But then, COVID happened. Sayang.
So I nampak you dah develop certain skill, selling skill, business skill in a way. So lepas tu COVID happen, nak beritahu pendengar lah. So Alan currently dia handle dia punya own business Puzzle Coffee dia jual kopi. Tu later kita akan cerita juga. Tapi I nak tahu apa you buat after COVID tu. So macam mana lagi? Macam mana you dapat idea dan seterusnya
Because lepas COVID nak cari kerja balik pun susah. Actually my mum yang approach dengan idea of like, you like coffee, so like why don't you sell coffee and make your coffee and sell coffee. Macam like initially F&B was my last option. Kebetulan my mum offered tu pun because ada kawan dia yang memang buat coffee business juga. He roast his coffee beans and supplies it lah, make his own brand kan. So okay lah, macam like masa tu pun tak ada opportunity sangat. So okay lah, belajar lah buat coffee kan, tengok macam mana kan, kalau suka lah. Coffee is like, saya cakap, you belajar dengan dia was okay, but then you need more depth of it. And then after I totally get into it, baru I macam like tu betul-betul enjoy making and selling coffee lah. Mula-mula belajar dengan dia sekejap, like setahun, kedai dia kat Puchong. So, pergilah hari-hari here to Puchong. Operate lah. He teach me from A to Z lah. The way he teach was like, there's no reasoning of it. Like he says like 2 scoops of coffee inside here and then grind it, put it in the group head and extract until certain volume. Macam-macam. Okay, but belajar macam tu je lah. And then once I get the hang of it, dapat tahu rasa different beans, different origin, macam like okay lah. And then I book a class dengan satu barista. After class dengan dia, baru macam this is coffee. Macam tu lah. Like he teaches the basics of it, the theory of it, and after that baru macam blooming lah. Is the minute is there, but you need some catalyst lah. Boleh buat kopi sendiri lah.
So masa you belajar tu, you belajar dengan yang your mom's friend Puchong tu, and then you dengan barista tu, you just learning for the sake of you enjoying kan? You tak ada terfikir nak buat business lagi kan?
Masa tu I think dah buat, but then it was home base masa tu. Masih home base for the sake of selling, but there's no like, at that time if you ask me what's the difference of beans, what's the taste notes, what's the kalau you tanya soalan, I cannot answer lah. Like I just this tastes right, jual lah, macam tu. But after class dengan dia, and then after that baru macam totally into it lah, totally faham.
Maksudnya you belajar tu memang you dah ada intention nak buka sendiri lah, bukan you nak kerja dengan you buka Puzzle Coffee betul nama dia, Puzzle Coffee?
Yes.
Masa 1 year after you belajar buat kopi tu lah, around 2021 lah, masa time COVID lah, PKP kan. So macam mana you buka kedai tu, yalah tengah-tengah MCO kan, tengah-tengah tak boleh nak keluar rumah. So macam mana you market?
Oh, masa tu social media lah. IG and Facebook. Movement was quite restricted. Orang nak cari coffee susah. I think there's like certain rules kan. Like you need to like keluar with a certain amount of people and whatnot. And certain distances. Macam tu lah. So masa tu at least options for coffee tak banyak. So that's where it all started lah. Mula-mula we offered delivery and then bila orang dah boleh berjalan we offered for pick up lah dekat tepi rumah.
Okay, now we nak go deeper on your punya business lah. So macam mana you dapat idea nama Puzzle Coffee tu? Unik ke nama tu?
How I Met Your Mother. Cerita How I Met Your Mother. Now dah berapa tahun I buka kedai, only 2-3 orang je yang macam bila Puzzle Coffee. They can relate the name. So in one episode of How I Met Your Mother, the characters have an idea to open a bar. The script was like, we should name the bar Puzzles. Why? That's the puzzle. Tu je lah macam like. And the series, it's close to my heart. So yeah, I honor that name lah, Puzzles. Puzzles Coffee.
Selama ni I pun puzzles juga kan. Macam mana you dapat idea puzzles? So masa you buat for the first few years tu, you operate from your home base lah. I mean you deliver, you self deliver ke macam mana?
Ya, kadang-kadang I deliver. Kadang-kadang I deliver, kadang-kadang my mum, kadang-kadang pakai Lala je.
Jadi sekarang ni macam mana? Sekarang ni at this moment you dah ada, I nampak you dah ada you punya own base kan? Gerai ke atau kedai?
Sekarang sewa tapak dekat Hospital Sungai Buloh. Dekat belah PKKN Hospital. PKKN Pusat Kawalan
dalam kantin itu
Kalau Hospital Sungai Buloh, the main building on the right hand side. Jadi on the PKKN on the left hand side. The smaller hospital. Ada macam satu tapak tu they make shift into a cafe. And I sewa dengan owner tender sekarang lah.
Tengok I nampak the whole story. You stay dalam medical line ni in a way kan?
Betul. Because kalau I borak because most of my customers staff, nurse, doktor. So kalau borak dengan doktor tu macam like tak rasa asing lah. Macam like macam like, how are you? Macam like patient macam dia you know, okay. Faham lah, macam tak adalah blur, kosong. Tak asing lah. Tu I nampak the beauty of your story. Dia wrap up, dia loop balik, dia ke situ balik kan. In a way, yes.
You mostly you operate from there lah. So it's quite secure juga lah. Yes. Secure in a way lah.
Alhamdulillah.
The demand is always there lah kan. Sebab very
Yes. The customers always there. The foot traffic is better than my previous tempat dekat Damansara Damai. Inilah better foot traffic lah. Customers pun yang memang appreciate my type of coffee. The staff, the visitors, those are all my customers lah.
You still buat delivery?
Sekarang tak. Unless kalau ada orang order bottled coffees, then boleh consider lah. Kalau within certain distance.
Tapi you tak letak dalam Grab one of the choice
function? Tak. Dulu masa dekat home base. Because sekarang kalau nak buat rasa susah sebab kedai kat dalam hospital. Rider kalau nak cari kedai pun tiap kali kena call, susah agak lah. Nak kena cerita.
Kat hospital pun as good je lah kan?
Alhamdulillah. Ya.
So you everyday lah you datang buat kopi lah kat situ. You ada staff lah?
Tak ada. I'm the solo operator. Not big enough lagi lah untuk buka kedai dan hire staff. But soon.
Of course in the future you nak besarkan kan?
Yes, of course. It's just a matter of when je lah.
So I suppose now you doing a good profit, and then sebab profitable is important for you to expand lah.
Doing comfortably tu tak, but okay lah. To survive okay. To expand maybe I need more time lah. But in the meantime, I'm still looking around, looking at places yang kalau ada better foot traffic, boleh pindah situ. Macam tu lah. Nothing is fixed, but
Tapi since you enjoying kan buat kopi almost every day kan?
Apparently boleh lah. It's something that I never thought I would be enjoy doing every day. To serve, to make a cup of coffee, jual ke orang, bagi dia to serve customer. To brew, to make that, to craft the coffee, to serve the customers. Macam tu lah. It's something that I didn't see doing 20 years ago.
Sebenarnya kan, I somewhat boleh relate dengan you tau, sebab I kan accountant by profession. Although I pun dah pernah kerja, tapi I doesn't feel it no. Sampai I jadi cikgu. Bawa I rasa aku suka jadi cikgu. Saya cikgu pada Ellen lah. Jadi
I see.
tapi benda tu I tak pernah dream pun nak jadi cikgu. I tak pernah pun I rasa I nak try. Tak pernah. We just try anything. Could work. Time tu I survival juga. I nak survive. Nak cukup makan kita bujang kan. So I keep on trying. Tapi jadi cikgu macam you buat kopi, sing pula. Tapi nak kata kita pernah dream nak jadi cikgu, macam you kata you tak pernah dream nak jadi buat kopi pun. Tapi hati kita suka. So kita tengok alhamdulillah I pun boleh survive. I'm also doing business. So it's like kalau you do what you love, adalah Tuhan akan bagi rezeki somewhere. So I nampak kisah you macam tu lah.
Wow, no wonder. Okay, cool.
Tak apa, nanti you nampak lah jalan-jalan dia. As long we enjoy doing what we doing. Macam I pun suka mengajar. Pasal saya suka mengajar. Macam I pun alhamdulillah ada my own business, buat online whatever. I ada ramai cikgu bawa I. Macam tu lah. Tapi asalnya I ngajar you solo juga kan. One to one macam tu juga, sama je.
Ya, dengan buku doa lagi.
You ingat Tapi family you memang involved dalam FME dah lama kan? I remember your mum ada jual bakso lah kan?
Ya, itu pun sebab dia pakai bibi itu pun power buat bakso. So macam dia take the opportunity lah jual bakso masa time tu for that period.
Ellen dia Puzzle Coffee di Hospital Sungai Buloh masih ada dan sedang berkembang. Alhamdulillah Ellen jumpa juga dia punya niche lah, benda yang dia suka buat everyday. So it's important lah untuk parent pun tahu lah. Dan I suppose your parent very supportive very, dia faham you, dia bagi you masa, bagi duit kan.
Kadang-kadang I yang rasa I tak deliver macam tu lah. Kesian kat diorang.
I nampak your parent very supportive sebab I tahu I ngajar lama kan. Okay, thank you so much Ellen for your time.
Thank you so much cikgu. Rasa saya nak borak lama lagi. Macam-macam lagi nak bagi tahu.
Itu kena kat rumah lah.
Mana boleh bagi tahu.
Itu nanti kat rumah lah. Taklah recording macam ni.
Okay.